To help us understand this a little more, Steve Hanke, Professor of Applied Economics, Johns Hopkins University, joins me from Baltimore. Good to see you, sir. Good to see you again, I should say. Look, if America shut down its banking system and allowed people to take out $66, which is the equivalent of 60 euros a day, I don't know what would happen out there on the streets, but that can't possibly be good for the economy. What do you say about Greece?
Well, Greece is just the same situation. Even by the end of April, the money supply in Greece was going down at about 15% per annum, meaning, of course, that the economy was collapsing also, because money and credit is the fuel that drives the economy and determines the level of economic activity. So that was back in April. Now things have gotten a lot worse, and we're at the point where the banks are literally shut, so there is no money and credit going out. So as far as the depression in Greece goes, it is going to get much, much worse, and that gets to the point you implied in your question, and that's what's going to happen on the streets, because even if they come to some kind of deal, the economy will continue to spiral downward, because the Marxist government in Athens has essentially destroyed the banks.
Yeah,
I mean, in a way, they've accomplished what any good Marxist always wants to do: destroy the capitalist banks. Well, and they've done it.
You know what the fear is, right? Because as my guest said earlier, yes, a no vote would be disastrous, but a yes vote isn't necessarily all that better at this point in time, because so much damage has already been done, right? No matter which side of the political aisle you're on, the economy is going to suffer, the people are going to suffer, the unemployment rate's only going to get worse, and I don't certainly know the answer of what's going to happen next, but it doesn't seem like anything good is going to happen, at least in the short term.
No, because as you say, there's so much uncertainty that is surrounding the whole referendum, and there's some question about whether they'll even pull a referendum off, because the government is not known for any kind of competence in delivering anything that they say they will deliver. And so we don't know really how this referendum is going to occur, forgetting the yes versus no issue.
Yeah.
And when you get into all this uncertainty about what's going on, we know that the center of everything we have to watch is the banks and the money and credit.
I'm going to do something I haven't done all week. I'm going to set aside Greece for just a moment and talk about the rest of Europe. Do they care at this point? I mean, can Europe survive and everything will be fine? Greece will be ring-fenced. Can we keep the two problems essentially separated?
Well, that's kind of problematic too. I think the Europeans are essentially fed up with the Greeks. At least they're fed up with this government that the Greeks have elected. They elected them on promises that they knew very well they could never deliver on. And I think the Europeans, the problem is, it goes back to 2001, when the Greeks were allowed on phony accounts and cooked books to enter the Eurozone. And it's just been one mistake after another. And I think finally, many Europeans have thrown up their hands and said, look, we should have never really let them in. They didn't qualify to get in. They've never followed the rules once they got in. And so let's just, enough is enough. Let's cut our losses and be done with it. I think that's the general view of the population in Europe. Now, the political class, that's something else. The political class would prefer to either kick the can down the road and have the problem eventually go away.
Very quickly, I have 30 seconds. What's a business to do? Let's say I'm a Chinese or American or a European business operating in Greece. There's this chaos that's happening. It's not going to get better anytime soon. How do we make business decisions?
The big thing, especially for China, is that the dollar is going to continue to strengthen against the euro, and the most important price in the world is the dollar-euro exchange rate. And if the dollar gets a lot stronger, of course, it weakens the U.S. economy because of the export sector, and it also keeps pushing down on commodity prices. Commodity prices will stay negative.
Professor, I apologize. We love having you on, and somewhere my managing director is probably nodding his head in agreement about the phony books thing, but that's another time. Thank you very